Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the RacingBet preview. My name's Tim Geers. I'm your host, joined by Trent Crebbin. Group 1 racing is back in Australia. The Winx Stakes headlines racing at Royal Randwick this Saturday, and racing in Victoria heads back to the Valley. We're excited for that one as well. Trent, I think we've got Group 1 racing every single weekend, bar one, for about the next 3 or 4 months. It's certainly springtime.
Yeah, it's finally here, isn't it? First Group 1 of the season, Winx Stakes, big field. And like you said, we've just got so much quality racing to look forward to over the next few months, and I can't wait to get stuck in.
I'm kind of torn with tomorrow's program at Randwick. There's so many good horses going around and so many good races, but there are a stack of races on the card that are just impossible betting affairs. What's it look like over there in Melbourne?
Yeah, I found it quite a tricky card as well, to be honest. Confidence levels probably just a touch down, and probably reflected that in the betting strategies. But look, there's some really strong races. I think there's going to be some good form coming out of these races. It's just a matter of dissecting them and picking them apart with quite a few horses first up.
Thankfully, I suppose the silver lining is racing goes ahead in Sydney despite the COVID situation. I've just had my first COVID jab over here in WA, and I've got a very dead arm. But let's hope the racing continues, because like I said, we've got plenty of good racing over the next few months heading into the spring. Like I said, the Winx Stakes headlines the racing at Randwick, 10 races on the card there, 9 races at the Valley, headlined by, I think, the Mackenzie Stakes. We'll start off with our best bets on the card, and I'm going to throw over to you because I've gone over the Randwick card for about 3 or 4 hours now, and I've gone around in circles multiple times. So let's get a winner on the board with you. Your best is coming up in the very last at the Valley. Once again, your best bet in the last race of the day. I've lost count of how many times this has happened now, but you're with De Graves as your best. Race 9, number 11, currently $2.60. We saw him a very impressive winner at his only start last preparation. Should have won by a lot further than he did, but he decided to run off the track. Take us through your thoughts tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm pretty keen to be with De Graves here. Like you said, he's kind of had a bit of a freshen up since that win at Flemington, where he laid in really badly over the last 100 meters or so. Probably wins by 2 or 3 if he doesn't do that. Finds a really winnable race here. He still gets down in the weights. Jamie Carr takes the ride, which is always a positive, especially with a horse that might have a tendency to lay in. She's just so good at controlling them when she needs to. Draws well in barrier 4. I think there's only really one danger after scratchings, and that's Sovereign Award, who likes the Valley and probably leads. But I think De Graves is a very progressive horse. I think he's going to measure up to group class racing, maybe not this spring, but next year I think he'll make a really good horse in that kind of group 2 level. So happy to be with him. I think he wins if he produces what he did last start and keeps progressing. I'm happy to be with De Graves, and yeah, 250, 260 is a good price.
Any concern on the good track at the Valley? The only glaring little thing I can see in his form is that he's had 3 starts on good ground for no placings, and all of his wins have come in the wet. Any concern?
Not really. You dive a little bit deeper into that. He's got a 4th beaten 1.8 lengths by Armory on a good track. So, that horse ran very well in a Cox Plate. And I also think it's not going to be a real firm deck. There has been a bit of rain around. I was listening to a track report. It's probably going to be almost a soft 5, somewhere between a 4 and a 5. So I think it's not going to be a bone dry track. So yeah, look, I'm not too worried about it.
Okay. De Graves in the last for Trent. Let's hope you can send us off with a winner as well. Randwick, like I said, I've done circles going around this card, but I have gone with race number 9, horse number 8, Written Beauty is my best of the day each way. Currently $5.50. We're getting $2.20 the place. She's been really lighting up the track at the trials. They've just basically let her run, and, almost that old adage, let fast horses run fast. We saw her win first up last preparation. She wasn't all that convincing, but she did get the job done. Overall, she's had 3 starts first up for 2 wins and a 2nd placing. But she didn't go on with it with those other 2 starts last prep, and I don't reckon she was quite right. She wasn't the horse that we saw in Melbourne, Trent, the prep before that. I do think in this field, if she's at her best, or potentially she could be and should be the best horse in this field. So I'm kind of just leaning on the factor that I think she could be the best horse in this field. And like I said, I'm just hoping they just let her roll along in front. And I think she could prove too good. So with that price on offer, it's a bit different if we're having to take $2.50 or $3. But given we're getting $5.50 and $2.20 for the place, I'm pretty happy to have a bet at her. Race 9, number 8, Written Beauty. The other, I suppose, factor to consider there is that on Trevier, I think that's how we say it, the top weight, the New Zealand mare, She's had a little bit of a lameness concern leading into the race, and she's currently somewhere near favoritism. So, you're adding the wide barrier with her and that little lameness issue. And I wouldn't be surprised to see her really drift out, and even Written Beauty shorten in the market. So I'll go with that as my best of the day. Race 9, number 8, Written Beauty at Randwick. Okay, best value. Trent, we'll go back to you at the Valley. You're with race number 3, horse number 8, Rock Tycoon, currently $19. And I believe you'd be saving on the favourite Corner Pocket.
Yeah, I'm happy to be with both Corner Pocket and Rock Tycoon, especially Rock Tycoon at the odds. I think he's a really good place chance. You're getting around $384 for the place. He's really good. Got a really good record at the Valley. I really like him at 1200 at the Valley. He ran over at last start where he thankfully just got bobbed out by our best bet of the day in the last. Escapes me. Imperial Lad, who kicked back and won it for us there. Drops significantly in the weights here, going up in grade from a benchmark 70 to a benchmark 90. So it obviously is a tougher race, but he drops from 58.5 down to 51 after the claim. He probably sits second in run. He'll go forward and, yeah, like I said, probably sit just off Corner Pocket. And I think he's going to be right there with the lightweight. He has shown in the past that if he can settle on speed and get the right timing to kick off the bend, he can be quite hard to run down. So happy to be with him each way. Corner Pocket's definitely the horse to beat. Just has a great winning record, probably leads from barrier 1, and he's going to be really hard to run down as well. But 2-bet play there, hoping they can run the Quinella.
Okay, and I'm waiting for the lucky last at Randwick for my best value bet of the day. And I was half tossing up one horse in this race to be my best of the day, but I'll get to that in a second. I've made my best value bet of the day, race 10, number 1, Poetic Charmer. Team Snowden, Hugh Bowman booked to ride at $16 and $4.60 is the available price. There's a few things to consider here. First thing is, I think Big Boy Roy is the horse to beat, and I think he'll be hard to beat. Deserves to be favourite. We saw him go toe-to-toe with Frosty Rocks first up from a spell. Frosty Rocks has come out of that race and won again last weekend, so the form's good. Big Boy Roy won second up last preparation. J-Max Sticks, barrier 4. All the stars aligned to him run well. I think he's the horse to beat. He'll be hard to beat. But if you consider his price at $4, the $16 about Poetic Charmer, who was 0.1 lengths behind Big Boy Roy last start, is absolute madness. He comes into this third up from a spell now. You look at his third up record, he's had 6 starts for 3 wins. And he only goes up half a kilo from that run last start, whereas Big Boy Roy goes up a kilo. So he meets him better at the weights. He's ready to peak third up from a spell. Bowman goes on for Sam Clipperton. And he gets a reasonably, okay barrier draw in barrier 8. Yet we're getting 4 times the price of the favourite here. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm happy to make him my best value bet of the day on an each way basis. Keep in mind also the fact that he beat Academy 4th up last preparation in this grade over this track and distance, or a similar track and distance, 1,300. Academy's a $10 chance, whereas Poetic Charmer is a $16 chance. So there's a lot of things that kind of, I think it's just an error in the market. I think he deserves to be short. I'm not saying he should be favourite or anything, but I think the $16 is a good bet. Now, with all that said, we do have 2 Waller imports in the race in the form of a Tissue and also Bullfinch. Anything could happen with those 2 horses. A Tissue comes into this having won 4 straight in New Zealand, having its first run on Australian shores. So, wouldn't surprise anyone to see that thing just hemorrhage in the market and start favourite. So it is a race, with several winning chances. Even Handspun third up from spell at $21 is a chance. So I'm not labelling it a moral by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think the $16 for Poetic Charmer is slightly over the odds. Best value bet of the day, race 10, number 1. Okay, let's get into the day's feature. The first Group 1 of the 2021-22 racing season here in Australia is the Winx Stakes. Weight for age, Group 1, 1,400 metres. We're going to give a little bit of a brief comment on every single runner, Trent. We're not going to go into too much depth, but we'll just give a quick 1 or 2 lines about each runner. So we'll start with Colding at the top of the weights. He comes out of the Group 2 Missile Stakes. He was really heavily backed on that occasion and was disappointing, it has to be said.
Yeah, agreed. I thought, with that market sport, he was going to run a lot better than he did. I questioned the strength of that race. Better suited at 1,400 metres, but yeah, he's a little bit tricky to back at the price off that first up run for mine.
Number 2, Think It Over. This is probably the way I'm going to bet in the race each way. We saw him take out the Group 1 George Ryder Stakes last preparation. He won first up last preparation. He then ran second in the Ajax and then won third up in the George Ryder. First up record, 6 starts, 3 wins, 2 second placings. His only start over track and distance was a second placing. Draws well, barrier 2. For mine, $8 is a good each way bet.
Yeah, you have a big fan. You're a big fan of him after backing him in that George Ryder at a big price. Definitely a winning chance. Maps well.
Number 3, Cascadian. Ran well first up last preparation in the Newcastle Newmarket. Get that one out. He then won the Doncaster third up from a spell. I've got him as a chance here. $9.50. Not a bad bet on an each way basis. Got a good first up record. Hugh Bowman on.
Yeah, again, another one's probably just a chance, but he can make it tough with his racing pattern.
He can. Dreamforce. If he was at his best here, he would be a very good winning chance in this.
Yeah, agreed. He might just be a little bit past his best, but there's just not a lot of pressure in this race, and he probably maps to find the front. So, look, if he was anywhere near his best, I'd be backing him here. I'm just not sure whether he is. If he got out to say $26, I'd probably have something on him.
Number 5, Imaging at $18 is certainly one I could make a case for at bigger odds. The jockey booking of Kathy O'Hara is a slight query, and 10 weeks since finishing midfield in the Stradbroke, but has run well fresh before. Ran an unlucky second in the CF4 Stakes first up last preparation.
Yeah, and also ran a very unlucky fourth in this race last year with Kathy on, got back, held up to the inside. Probably should have won that race. So I think he's a big chance here, and it's probably over the odds.
Okay. Horse number 6, Star of the Seas. Pretty good on all surfaces. Can go well first up. I'll be passing on him, though, in this race.
Yeah, another one just got bobbed out in this race last year. Yeah, some chance, but probably not for me.
The next horse, I've got absolutely no idea how to pronounce its name. Ki Nautique. I'm going to go with that. Japanese import, first up in Australia.
Yeah, look, really tough to get a read on. You just watch the market, maybe. Not sure.
Yeah, is a Group 1 winner back in Japan, but not recently. Number 8, Master of Wine, surely needs further than this.
Yeah, had a pretty plain last prep for what he was hyped up to be, so I would think he'd need this as well.
Number 9, Brandenburg, did run third behind Zaki in the Group 1 Doomben Cup last preparation, albeit beaten 9.25 lengths. He also won the Coast at Gosford. Not quite convinced he's a genuine Group 1 horse.
Yeah, that'd be my query as well. Has trialled well, though, but might be a bit too tough for him.
Number 10, Mount Popper, already has his spot in the Caulfield Cup sewn up. You reckon he'd be forward enough to be competitive here?
I wouldn't have thought so. Probably just a bit of a prep run and look for him to hit the line.
Number 11, Moonga, of course, the winner of the Group 1 Rosehill Guineas last preparation. Last seen running against the likes of a Dave and Very Elegant in the Queen Elizabeth. First up, 1,400 metres would be my concern.
Yeah, it does have a decent record at 1,400 metres. I think he's going to get a long way back, though. And Annabelle Neasham's kind of suggesting that he might need the run a little bit from where he's going to get to on the map. So probably just playing around him.
Okay, the favourite, number 12, Very Elegant, won this race last year, if my memory serves me correct. Pretty hard to knock her. She's pretty bomb-proof, isn't she? She's an 8-time Group 1 winner. It's hard to really say anything bad about her, but you're going to be taking her on at the current $3.10 quote.
Yeah, I think I have to take her on here. She did win this race last year, but I think it's a very different setup. That race is on a soft 6 track. We know how good she is on wet ground. And she also got a very fast tempo there, which I think just brought out the best horse and also the best endurance, the best stayer in the race. I think she gets a different setup here with not as much pace. I think it's probably going to be a good 3 track. Class will take her a long way, but I think you're looking to back her second and third up and potentially risking her here.
Okay, number 13, She's Ideal. Probably looking for further than this. Can be competitive over these sorts of distances, but was last seen running 4th in a Sydney Cup.
Yeah, won't be sharp enough.
And probably the same I can say about number 14, Hungry Heart, at the bottom of the weights. I think she's probably needs 2,000 to be at her very best. Be surprised if she could be competitive here.
Yeah, agree. Her trial as well looked very dour. I think she's really going to be getting her best at 2,400 plus.
Okay, so in summary, for me, think it over each way will be my bet in the race. For you?
I'm probably going to be with imaging each way, maybe something small on Dreamforce.
Okay, there we go. That's the Group 1 Winx Stakes. You can find my full preview of that race included in the Randwick preview, which will be up on racingbet.com.au. It'll also be this week's hat competition. We had another, dual winners in last week's competition. Both had already won the competition before. So there's another hat up for grabs this week. It will be in the Winx Stakes. So head to the RacingBet Twitter account, find the tweet, and give us your tip and the winning margin and the nearest the pin. Whoever goes closest will get themselves a RacingBet hat in the mail. Okay, Trent, any other thoughts on the Valley card before we sign off for another weekend?
No, I think that does us for Melbourne. Next week, we've got the Group 1 Menzies Stakes. Already looking forward to that one. Should be a great race.